You guys can actually read.
Anybody have that?
Those would be cool.
You know what channel we're
Yeah.
on?
I bet Seth will really like them.
300.
No.
Anybody have one of these little boxes? Yeah.
Yeah, it's 317. No.
You want it?
317.
Tracy
It's
Hospital.
right in that area. If you go to 307, at least just go up from there.
Okay, this one used by Dr. Valentine to finance Tracy Hospital.
Was I right? What channel was it?
I don't know, I hit my TV button and it showed up.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
That's yours.
Drive by there.
The museum would be at
Good job.
Knock yourself out.
It's like 327 or something like that.
That was an amazing feat for Dr. Valentine to finance that hospital during.
I said with inflation, these would be worth about 900%.
I like it fast is on a bigger delay than charging.
Dan's back.
Diane made it out there.
James here earlier tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that other.
How was your trip? Good.
On the white side?
Give you my dog, they're cute.
Get it from the post office.
Oh,
I have one meeting.
still one.
Good.
We got 2.5 minutes left. Diane, you're just walking in to start the report.
Serious?
On fast.
That's
yeah.
late,
It's
huh?
like about a minute and a half behind.
You walk fast, man.
Numbers.
Quick, look at, she's in the, hiding in the room now.
She's in
Watch
the
her.
room, yeah.
See, now she just came out, she's already sitting down.
There she comes. There's look at her go.
She's
Oh,
quick.
you guys.
Well, somebody's got to keep you on your toes.
Should I break it to her now?
No, don't. Be a surprise to her. It'll be something new. You have to call in her last once.
Warm in here. Somebody should have paid their electric bill.
I think he's cutting grass, so he's in a hurry.
It is warm in here. I remember it's warm in here. Pam, on the other hand, she's got 3 layers on.
I know. Do this.
Just comfortable. Aren't you all comfortable?
I'm a little warm in here.
You're a little warm in here?
Can you believe it?
Silly girl.
Still 6:28
Okay.
in seconds, so I'll tell you what it
Tell me
is.
when it's 29. So I can't.
I wait for the bitter end.
Your roll looks
6:29, we have a minute.
You got the seconds on there too?
You want me to? I can go there if you want me Oh, that people.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to worry about it because we're a minute and a half delayed.
They'll never know.
Yeah.
They're not going to see it till they're 2 minutes late.
Right.
They're gonna think we're late.
We'll be done before they even know that we started.
We will call to order the regular city council meeting for Monday, June 24th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any agenda changes?
The only thing that I have, Mayor, is that the auditor's going to be here tonight, but I'm not sure she was going to be at another city council meeting tonight that started at 5 o'clock, and she was going to be the first on their docket. So I don't know when she will be here. So under staff reports A, that might go all the way to the end for all I know. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
So, but there's no adds or subtractions.
Motion to approve is written.
I'm wondering if I could just, under council mayor communications, just mention the community center work group. Would that be appropriate, Jeff, to give a small update?
I think that you can actually give that, I mean, you can talk about that under mayor and communications.
Okay.
We don't need to add it to
Thank
the, just when we get to, past B, then you can talk about that a little bit.
Okay, well, just a brief update.
Sure.
Okay, so do we have a second then?
I'll second.
First and second, all those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. So we can go right into the public hearing, can we not?
Yes. Have a
So-
vote for opening the public hearing?
Motion.
Motion.
So do I have a motion to,
Yes.
and a second?
Second.
Do we do a roll call for that, or can we just do all
Just
those?
do all of them at once, yep.
Okay. All those, okay, both of them? I can do both of them?
Yes, for both of these. This one public hearing. You
Okay,
can't get through both of them?
No, you're gonna.
Shouldn't we have
Close-
an
Close one.
explanation of what,
You're gonna open and
what
then
the hearing's
close.
about?
You're gonna
Okay.
open and close.
Okay, so we will do John and Amy Munson first then. Good timing.
Good timing.
We want Amy first.
So what we have with Resolution 2024-62 is approve the variance request from John and Amy Munson, where they are wanting to build another garage, basically, a shed on their property. They own a, John, if you want to come up real quick? Just because I want to throw stuff at you?
Right here.
Right here. Oh, boy. Because your house out there is on an acre of land, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty close to that, I believe.
Well, it's just shy of an acre of land, and they have a house that has a 2-car garage, and they're just looking for basically a 4-car garage, and what they're
Yes.
looking for. So we talked a little bit about it went through the planning commission, was that 2 weeks ago? I think is what it was? Okay. So,
Yes.
So we had 2 weeks ago is when it went through the planning commission, and so that's why it got sent to the city council. John, did you want to talk a little bit about it, about what you're looking at doing? And maybe Shane, if you want to add to it a little bit about what the variance comes down to? Go ahead.
Basically, I've got more vehicles around than I got roof for. I think we get this thing up, it's not going to be a lot of vehicles. The vehicles will be under a roof and out of sight. And big family. I guess it's a need that we do have. Good spot for it to sit there. With the big lot, I don't think we're crowding anything.
You tell them what the address is,
900 Country Circle
which is right
Drive.
across the street from the high school, in those large lots out there. Shane, what was the assumption of the variance?
Right, as he alluded to, it's at Country Circle Drive, right near Pine Street. Lot's about 1.02 acres. I do have a map if you want to view that. The variance, basically, it's a 1 foot in wall height and 3 foot in overall peak height. So the city code only allows for a 10-foot sidewall and a 15-foot total peak height. So he's looking for 11-foot approximate sidewall, and then he wants to be 17 feet. No,
You put that
18
on the,
feet.
on the thing so close to see or not?
I can if we have a cord.
That's right.
512 pitch. He's going to be 12 foot over length. The max length for city code is the max length for city code is 36 feet in any direction. So he's looking at going 48 feet long. And then what was the width of that?
32.
32 feet wide. So he's looking for a variance of 12 feet for the over length. And The setbacks, there's no really setback issue with it. It's just mainly the length of the building and the height of the building. Find the- If you can see that decent here, but this is his house. Current attached garage. This is kind of the building area he's looking at for this, kind of in line with the front of the house as far as the setbacks go. So
At the hearing that the planning commission conducted, were there any objections from any neighbors or any comments?
I haven't heard
That would
any.
be the public hearing here. They have the ability to come to the public hearing, but no, there wasn't any, and there was no objections from the planning commission at all.
I'd make a motion that we approve this very.
Well, should see
Oh.
if there's
Comments
somebody.
and then
So is there
close the
anybody in
meeting.
the audience that would like to comment about
I'll
this
have the
variance?
next one if you want it.
Okay, we'll put that up too, yeah.
Okay, now Seth.
Now you gotta
Did you
close.
close it?
Close
Close
the
it
hearing.
Okay, so we will close the Munson open public hearing and
Open the regular.
open the regular meeting.
I'd make a motion that we approve this variance request.
Second.
Okay, first and second, anybody have any other further discussion about this? Roll call, please.
Oh. Teigs.
Aye.
Arvisu.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Heinrichs.
Yes.
Shones.
Aye.
Landite.
Aye.
Mayor Corman.
Aye.
Okay, thanks, John.
Okay, that's that
It's
for
a
you guys.
good to go.
Get the building.
Good to go.
Nice improvement.
Very nice improvement, thank you.
Now I gotta get to work.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep, thanks for coming in, guys. So now we will close our public meeting, and we will open a closed meeting.
Yep.
Or
We
close-
need to vote for that, yep.
Just open the public hearing.
I was gonna say, I got that
That's all
one
you gotta do.
tied. We just need to open up the public hearing.
There you
So
go.
we'll open up the public hearing for the James, Mark, and Susan Sheik.
Yep, that would be Resolution 2024-63 to approve the variance request from James Marks and Susan Sheik. So, Shane, if you want to come up and we can start with this. So this would be right on Center Street. There is an existing building there, a shed there now, or garage, that's unusable. What they are looking at doing is they can't even get their car into that garage. So they're trying to have a place to park their cars during the winter months for sure. Right now, the building is not usable, and it's one of them that is in bad shape. It's in
So
bad
to
shape.
tear that one down then?
It's on our list.
It's on our list.
So the lot's 50 by 100, has an alley on the north side of the property, and then Center Street on the west side. Detached garage, like Jeff had said, is deteriorating. The proposal is to remove that garage completely and rebuild a two-car garage. With the alley setback requirement 20 feet and the side yard setback at 8 feet, the depth can only be 22 feet. This would accommodate most cars, but a full-size pickup would definitely not be ideal with that garage depth. So moving this, the garage currently that's there is 3 feet from the line, and the new garage would be set at 5 feet from the line. So
Less of a variance needed if we were to build the old garage that has been sitting there for 75 years.
yeah. So I can get
As far
a
as
map.
height and stuff, is all okay?
Height and length, width is all fine. Then here's kind of a map of what they have going there. So the old garage is right in this spot here, and it actually sticks out. So they're looking at putting right here.
So they're moving away from the neighbors on the east side, moving it closer to their house. Obviously, it takes a lot more to attach a garage like that, with firewalls and everything else. So they decided just to do the two-car.
Did they decide on that for sure?
Yeah, the
I
last
told
time
them that
talked to
really want, as long as they have the variance here, if they wanted to, they could do either or,
But he asked about, then, there's a firewall on the house and everything
Yeah.
else that goes along with it, so.
Right.
Will that
more expensive.
affect any snow removal in the winter then through
No.
the alley?
No, all these garages are kind of set back. We're going to be out here moving snow, so
Okay.
really,
I meant in the alley. That's the street.
really won't make any difference because he already has a driveway here.
Okay.
So
And as you can see, the house to the south there actually has a garage. I mean, that was the way.
their doors are here,
Yeah.
so they have to come in and.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody out in the public audience want to talk about the variance for that one? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Do I have to open our other regular meeting? I never closed our regular meetings, right?
I'm sorry.
You have
Said
to-
I don't have to open our regular meeting because we never
No.
closed it. Okay.
Apparently then, Mayor, no, the neighbors are fine with,
Yep, they would have been here, and then also there was no issue at all with the planning commission, again, just because of what was shown up there is less of a variance if you had to, build the old one where it was at right now, plus it's one of the dilapidated garages and grounds, and so they're gonna be adding a nice building to their, they paid all their fees and everything, so that's all taken care of, and they will get their building permits. And
another good improvement. I make a motion that we approve the variance.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Van Dyke.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Hendricks. Schmidt.
Yes.
Arvisu.
Yes.
Cheeks.
Aye.
Mayor Corman.
Aye. So is there anybody in the audience that would like to talk about something that is not on the agenda?
Good evening. It's nice to be here. My name is Gordon Crosley. I'm new to the community. Just bought a house down on Howlett about a month, a little while ago. We moved in less than a month ago. So it's just nice to be in the community. My daughter, Abigail Bergfett, and her family have been here for over 9 years. And so throughout the last 9 years, my wife and I have come at various times, especially several times during boxcar days. We just really love this small town atmosphere and all that goes on here. And getting to meet a lot of the people in the community, our neighbors have been very friendly. It's just been really nice. One of the reasons that I'm here tonight, though, is when I was kind of looking over coming to the community, looked on the city ordinances, because in the community that we were at, we were allowed to have chickens, and I saw that it says that livestock is permitted in the town. And so I have brought them, I paid for the permit, and I'm simply requesting that we be allowed to have the livestock. It meets the needs, and I believe we meet all the code that is presently here under the city ordinance for a safe place, and that they won't be a nuisance to the neighbors. It's something that I've had in various communities, and we've never had a problem before in the communities where we've lived. And so that's why I'm here today. I did talk with Jeff, but I've not received any official letter that it says would state approval or denial. And so I've come here today to ask for consideration on the permit, because not only do I like the chicken eggs, but I also think it's a good thing for my grandsons here to learn some responsibility to help take care of them and enjoy the produce of their own hands, as well as the gardening that we do.
Okay.
Any questions from anyone here?
So I can address that real quick. So we didn't put this on the agenda anywhere because it is really, it's a council can change things, but we have an ordinance here that I'd like to read to you, and I'll tell you how I've handled this in the last 7 months. Okay? So I'm going to read this to you. It's City Code 8.30, subsection 4, animal permits. An animal permit shall be required in the following circumstances for animals kept in the city. Any livestock or wild animal. The keeping of 4 or more animals. Applications accompanied by a fee of an amount in accordance with the yearly rate set by the annual resolution of the animal permit. Shall be in writing and directed to the city administrator, who is authorized to issue a permit. So I am authorized to issue a permit for animals or animals as they will be kept. Will not endanger the life or property, or keeping thereof will not become an animal nuisance. In making a permit decision, the city administrator shall take into account the pertinent factors, including not limited to, necessarily limited to whether any type of inoculation or is appropriate. The past propensities of the animal or animal species involved the ability of the owner to confine each animal, the size, location, and type of any facilities or equipment, the trustworthiness of the owner, and the possibility of harm to the public. The city administrator shall send a written notice of denial of the permit to the applicant. I've had them come up here because I wanted you to hear it, because they were insistent on coming up here for. That's why it's not on that's why it's not on the agenda anywhere. It's just under the for the public comments. So if I send out a letter of denial, then they will have to appeal that process, and that appeal does not come to you. That it comes to the police commission, and then the police commission can decide on that. I have already made the and it's just an adjustment, not really a change right now in the fee schedule, where I'm having people, I told them in the office that if somebody comes in and asks for something like this, before we charge them $50, have them come in and talk to me, because I'm going to be able to tell them what I feel. In my opinion here, we don't want to have chickens in the city limits. Are there some out there right now? Could be. I don't know about them. But for me to, and this will be the fourth one that I have turned down in the last 7 months. I have talked to the police, which this would any kind of appeasement or any kind of hearing to the police department would come with just me getting the police department together with I think there's 3 people that are on that police commission. So that's where it would go from here, unless you want to change something in the ordinance. So there's no decisions for you to make tonight. I just wanted you to hear that. I'm going to be looking out. I am going to be sending out the denial letter by Monday, and then they're going to have the ability to ask for just to contest the denial. But I wanted them to be able to come up here and speak to you with not being on the agenda someplace. So we can put it on the agenda if you want to change the ordinance, but we can't put it on the agenda when the city council has nothing to do with the denial or the approval of this, because it is solely up to me according to this, unless you read this any other way. Talked to 2 of the 3 police officers, and they've had multiple incidents of having to chase chickens around town. Not that it would happen in this case, but they've had multiple times that they've had to chase chickens. And that's my opinion, and that's who's going to give the written notice of denial. So that's all you need to know right now, is you have the information that you need. If I hear otherwise that you would like to change the ordinance, we have a lot of ordinances that need to be changed because some of them are old, but this would just be another one. So, any other thing that you've got? I mean,
Well,
go
no,
ahead.
it wasn't a deciding factor to move here because I love the community and wanted to be here, but it was one of the things that we moved all the way from New York with them under the understanding that this is the current ordinance and there is nothing that we will be doing that would violate anything here. I've read through all this to see how they're to be kept and what conditions, and they don't fall into the category of animal cruelty of any sort. And so I don't understand the denial other than the fact that some people don't like chickens, is how I interpret it. But the ordinance states that they can be here.
Yeah.
And
No,
so that's why.
You can apply to have them.
That we can apply.
Yeah.
And so, and the thing is with that is the implication is you can apply, and there's a good chance you could have it as well as a chance to be denied.
Right.
But what you're telling me is, no, it's a flat out denial. then why allow people to apply and pay the $50 is my
That's
question.
what I plan on giving that back, and they have the notice now that to have people come in and talk to me.
I understand it, but currently, the ordinance allows for it.
No, it allows for you to make an application out.
Okay, with the understanding,
With the understanding, I have the ability to say yes or no.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So,
So you, yes, you will
Okay,
be
so I will
receiving, you will be receiving
I will
the
appreciate
denial
that
letter.
very
Yep.
much.
Yep,
Thank
and
you.
then you can appeal that process.
I will,
And
and I
then
appreciate that.
Appeal that, and then I have a certain amount of time to get the police commission together to, and then they will, and there'll be a group of 3 in there.
All right,
Yep.
I appreciate
Yep.
that opportunity.
Not a problem.
So I would like to just extend a welcome to this.
Thank you very much. What we've been here, like I said, it's been great. We really enjoyed it. The community, like my neighbors, all that have come over and gone out of their way, because in a lot of communities that we've lived in, I've pastored churches and worked in a lot of other areas. So I've moved many times. I hope this is my last time. I really like it here. And we found this to be probably absolutely the friendliest community that we've been in. And so thank you very much, Mayor. It's nice to meet you.
I'm sure the
Good to be here.
grandchildren are
Appreciate that.
happy having you
That's a
here.
great testimonial anyway, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Oh, I should say, there is nobody else.
Any other, and then before you get to the consent calendar, I just want to just say this in front of the TV screen and to you, and I'm sure, I don't know if you've gotten any phone calls or not, but the assessment rebates that were sent out in the mail, the 800 of them, 760, something like that, I'm getting a tremendous amount of phone calls on what they are. They're anywhere from 30 to 50. There's a couple of them that are $90, depending on how many properties you have. They're $30, and what that is, it is legitimate. That's the reason that you got the check back. But it was an assessment that we put onto the properties. I believe it was in 2019, and it was supposed to last for a couple of years. And we had that assessment on there per month for a couple of years after that. I don't know what the exact
Been
dates
on there
are.
since 1990. Should have
Oh.
ended in 2020. Because I think everybody's under the assumption that it was indefinite. It would go on forever. Well, we started digging and found the resolution, and the resolution indicated it was supposed to end 2019 should have been the last year, but it was on for 20 and 21. So that's where the reimbursement came in.
So we paid back the extra 2 years all in one check.
Yeah, this was something that was brought up, and I believe with the previous city administrator, and it just didn't get done with the switching back and forth. So that's what it is. It's legitimate money. But if you know of anybody that's questioning why they got that, we got some of them returned to us. I know we're looking for, who owned the property and when they owned the property, but the checks that they received are legitimate. So before you I just wanted to say that before you got to the everything you're going to be doing here in a little bit. So
I've actually heard some very nice comments that the city went to the expense to return the money to all the homeowners, that they said they didn't know if all cities would be that upfront and honest. So I just want to say great kudos to the staff that you stepped up and you did the right thing.
I think it was all taken care of ahead of time, but yeah, it's a long time ago. It just never got put into where we were sent out the checks to pay it. So
Yeah, we just got it finalized. Like February, March, we got the list finally put together and ready to go out. Because we had to research the Line County website and find out who the owner was at the time, and if there was a property change, then we had to find that
You
out.
looked down the list, it was quite obvious you
Yeah.
guys did your research and found people that don't live here anymore.
Right.
And so I just want to say kudos because I know that was extra work.
What was the total payout for the city of Tracy?
oh my gosh, the total payout. What was the total amount? Shane, do you remember what the total amount was on that?
It's about 30,000.
I'll say what, 28,
30,000.
for some reason, 28,000 is
Yeah.
set in my head, but, okay. So, okay, all right, sorry about that, but go ahead.
consent calendar.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 10th council minutes and the June 5th budget minutes. Approve municipal accounts payable and payroll without breakthrough beverage. Approve municipal accounts receivable. Approve the May 8th, 2024 park board minutes. Approve the March 27th, 2024 library minutes.
I would second that.
Any further questions about that?
I've got just one comment and question about the payables. And first, I'm glad to see all those names of young people getting checks for being lifeguards and then maybe working for the city street department a little bit, mowing lawns. But what is the starting pay then that roughly that we pay at the pool?
You will be able to ask that to Jessica when she comes up here in just a second.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
I can give you a range of the 3 different positions we have out there, but you can ask her.
And the other question I had was, are they paid roughly the same as like the guys working with mowing lawns and so forth?
Less.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yep. But they did get a nice raise in the past couple of years. So.
Any other discussions? Roll call, please.
Jones.
Aye.
Heinrichs.
Aye.
Teigs.
Aye.
Arvisu.
Yes.
Landite.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Mayor Corman.
Aye. Would somebody like to do it for breakthrough beverage?
We'll let it go without.
And you don't get liquor, so that's fine.
I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable to Breakthrough Beverage.
I'll
Second.
Oh, bless you, George.
Just for Dave.
Thank you.
I like his money.
Roll call, please.
Landite.
Aye.
Heinrichs.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Arvisu.
Yes.
Mayor Corman.
Aye.
All right, Mayor, number 7, conflict of interest. This is the same thing that we've gone through probably 2 for sure, if not 3 different meetings. It would be another person who applied for one of the small cities development grants that was a city employee. There's no vote or anything here. I just wanted to bring it up that we have to bring it in. It has to be in the minutes and has to be signed by you, the mayor, so we can get it in so they're able to apply for that without the conflict of interest. Same thing as it was before. There is no conflict of interest if anybody on this board or any employee, as long as they're eligible for that small cities development program, they're able to do it. There's no way that they can influence the decision at all. It's all based on what happens at UCAP. So we just have to have that in the minutes and then signed off by the mayor.
Okay.
So now it is.
Jan, do you want to give us an update, please?
Yes. George Landite and I are part of the community center work group. We've met twice, and we plan to meet on a weekly basis to get this thing rolling. We are going to be examining some available buildings in town that we could possibly consider for rehab, which would, I think, be more financially feasible than going with a new build, waiting probably several years before we could accumulate enough money, and then we'd find out maybe we didn't have enough money because costs have escalated. So at this time, today we looked at Family Dollar, kind of, sort of, because Jeff set off the burglar alarm, and we couldn't get it turned off. Do you think it's still going?
I think it's in my ears yet.
Well, Chief would know if it's still going.
It's all good.
Thank you. Well, because Jeff tried multiple phone numbers that nobody was answering, picking up, and so we had to rush in, look around, rush back out. It was a little irritating. That was a very loud noise. So we looked at that building. We looked at the old Super Value building that's now owned by, I believe, Jeremy from the Squatch business. And so we have a couple of other places that we're going to look at and just see if we can find something that would work, is, within the price range and is able to be rehabbed. So just so you realize, we are on an accelerated basis, and we'll be working diligently till we can figure this out.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Jan and George.
A on there, just to appoint Melanie Geiser to the library board. So that'll take a motion. You have the application in your,
I'll make a motion to appoint Melanie to the library board.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Just Mayor, will this
Oh, you do have-
appointment bring us up to full strength on the library board then?
On the library
Okay.
board, yes.
Thank you.
we still need a lot of help in other boards though. Seth?
And what are they?
The Charter Commission, the Planning and Zoning, the EDA is full, but the Police Commission, I believe, is one short.
No, everything's full.
Is it full?
But the planning
In
and
the charter. And there's not a lot of commitment to those two. I mean, you have to know what you're talking about. We explain that, and it's a couple of good boards to be on.
Because the charter only meets how many times? Like one, only as needed, or?
They have to meet once a year in
a couple times a year,
Yeah.
the charter, but the
That's
short
not
meetings
bad.
and.
That's not a bad board to be
But
on.
we are a charter city, so without a charter board, if it goes too long, then we have to reestablish the charter and all of that, so.
And right now, we have one charter member, and then we have 6 of you to make it 7.
Mayor, could I ask a question about how often is the planning commission meeting now?
I can answer that. I bet we've had 3 this year, maybe 4. It just depends on whether there's any kind of variances to talk about or approve or send on to the city council. And then at our last one, we actually had Southwest Corporation from Slayton come up here and talk to us about the planning and zoning, which you'll hear about more down the road. So if there's something that we need to talk about, otherwise we push it off to the next month.
It's usually the first Monday
Yep.
of the month.
Am I correct in saying that the scope of the planning commission has been reduced in recent years? Because it used to, in days of yore, it seemed it met every month. So I'm just asking.
Could be, I guess, I don't know. I couldn't answer that if it's been reduced at all. I think there's the same responsibilities of it, but are there less variances asked for?
And I think in the last couple of years, they were working very hard on that plan. Yes, the comprehensive plan. That took a lot of time and effort and was kind of a constant on the agenda. You were on, Jerry, at that time. Wouldn't you say that took quite a bit of work? Yes, and we'll be seeing that, I think, coming up for the zoning.
Yeah, the zoning also. Yeah.
We're just in the stages of engaging somebody to conduct, who's an expert in the area, but we're still going to have to sign off on those ideas, and we'll have input, certainly. Yeah.
Normally, that would be done at the same time as when you put the comp plan together, but it wasn't. And could have been a cost, factor too, so.
Okay, anybody else have
thank
any
you.
questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Jones,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Teagues,
Aye.
Arvisu,
Yes.
Hendricks.
Aye.
Landay,
Aye.
Mayor Corman.
Aye.
Okay, B, you need to call for the public hearing, the sewer ordinance number 389. I would just want to explain a little bit what we're talking about. We have brought this up in at least one, if not 2 meetings, but I worked with the city attorney and talked about the need for, it's a lot of, to make it as simple as I can, it's from the boulevard to the house. We have some dilapidated pipes that are bringing in groundwater after it rains and basically being a part of the problem that we have with our flow that comes when we get a 3 and 4 and 5 and 7 inch rain that we got here. Shane, did you want to just come up for a second in case they've got any questions for you? That we'll call for the public hearing on July the 22nd, Mayor, but just to let you know that in the surrounding areas, there's a state mandate, that's coming, and there's also the neighboring towns are all doing the same thing. It's not like we're being cavalier and going after people's money, but it's just something that needs to be done.
I have a question that was asked to me by a resident. Is there any grant money that would be available for the people that have to do this?
Not that I know of, because it wouldn't be, because that's personal, it's on your personal private property. We are responsible, Shane, everything all the way up to the boulevard unless
Well, so sewer maintenance is all the way to the main. So if anything happens to the main, but during a infrastructure improvement project, we replace everything to the boulevard for both sewer and water. So no one's digging up the street and we have to dig through their service lines to install the sewer and water anyway. So it's just something that we do. But anything outside of that, any of the grants we've got in the past, they have not covered the cost of anything outside of the right-of-way line.
Is there anything we could do as a city then, maybe to help the residents that are saddled with this extra expense by dispersing it over 2-3 years or something to help ease the pain?
So hold on, George, there for a second. Remember when you talked about this is only when there's a change of hands in property. So when there's a change of hands. So we're starting as about as slow as you can get, unlike a couple of other cities that are pushing this forward a lot faster. And they're scoping out a lot of the pipes to see if there's any problems. And then it's going to be, this will only be, and then when that happens, that can be when the property is going to get sold. And it can be negotiated with the new owner. So then, it's either the buyer or the seller.
Well, my question is, would it make sense for the city to try to come with a plan to help with this so we can do it faster? More people would say, yeah, I think I'll get this done now while I'm pretty healthy or whatever. As to wait till they sell the property or it's tax forfeited or whatever.
I guess at any time they could do it.
Here, but let's try to get this solved quicker than when a house is sold.
That would push it along faster if you put an ordinance out there that we have to start looking at it. If they have the want to do something like that, I don't know that we can pay to scope all the lines and everything. I mean, Shane's pretty sure where the lines are. We're going to let Tyler say something right now because he actually went through this various thing when he bought his last house. So
I was just curious, talking about grants, would CDBG cover that for people that are in the income range? Would that apply? Because, I mean, in future years, then
You'd have
that
to dig on the legalities of that one.
holy cow.
Well, the question that I have about that, like having people do it now, is like so many people have got assessments on their properties because of all the sewer lines and the street lines that they're probably not going to appreciate another.
I agree.
No, that's not what I'm addressing. I'm addressing, can we come up with a pilot program as a city to help pay for this and then have them pay us back over a few years?
It's
2
the
or
same
3
thing
years.
as like assessing it on their property.
No, that's if they want to do it, not have to. I'm not telling them they have to do it, but
Okay.
if somebody says, gee, I want to do this now, if I can get a little help getting it done, and then that would help the problem down the road quicker than
Typically-
waiting for the house.
Typically, they'll get charged interest for that though too.
Well, you'd
So-
have to figure out some kind of plan.
But I mean, they could, I don't know if they're better off financing that with their,
Can of worms.
another
Do
lender.
they have the ability to
The
put something like that onto their?
The council
I
has
don't
done
know.
that in the past on things that, are caught or completely failed or, where there's a hardship. But you'd have to prove that on a case-by-case basis.
Would it be possible to, we'd probably have to get multiple people to do it, but to get that company that does the pipe lining?
Lining's an option.
Let's say if we had,
So the company that was
30
here did
people in
not
town.
do, they're too small of lines,
okay,
but there are companies that'll do smaller lines. But the company that was here, they're 8 inches and bigger. They weren't.
Could that,
interested
I
in
mean,
doing
that
it.
could be a phone call we could make and say, hey, if we found 20 people or 50 people in town that wanted to do this, could you
Be
guys,
proactive.
what would the cost be for somebody to do a 50-foot line, let's say? How much would it be for them to come in and line it? And if they knew that they were walking into town and had 20 houses to do, would it be worthwhile for them to do the job and charge a reasonable rate for it?
I like that idea, Dave.
It takes some coordination amongst property
But yeah, it'd be
owners,
one of
but-
those where it's like this year, the rest of this year, we could line it up for next June for anybody that wanted to do it. And then let's say we had 20 or 50 people that did it, and then they could come into town for a week, and it costs you, for 50 feet, it's $2,000, and you're taken care of.
Probably be more than that, but
Well,
But yeah, whatever.
and in some cases, in a lot of cases, unless you have a lot of concrete and landscaping to go through, it's going to be cheaper to open trench it than it will be to line it.
What is an open trench by linear foot cost?
It just depends on the conditions. Because if your sewer's, 10, 12 feet in the ground, it's going to be a lot more money than, if your sewer's 6 foot deep or 5 foot deep.
Okay, the problem is, and I had heard years ago, that on average, to dig out something, a trench in your yard, would average at least 10 grand. I'm assuming that's escalated a wee bit, and depending how far away your house is from the,
Yeah.
That's exactly what it comes down to, is how far the house is away
Seriously,
from.
don't think it's 10 grand.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
That's a lot.
get Kendall to do it for that.
But my question is,
It's
so
10,000
what's that?
from, I know that it's anywhere from 5 to 10,000.
So, but then if you had, like you said, if you had 30 people that wanted to do it, then who pays for the cameraing to have somebody come in and camera it? The people?
you mean, I thought you
gotta
were
camera
doing
the
some
lines so you can
surveys
make sure
yourself,
that they
or
have
not?
Right.
a problem.
We do it during street projects.
so they've got all the video
got the
footage of
street
everybody's,
projects
that's all the street
That were
project
in the
houses.
street.
That
So
was-
you've done mine?
There should be in the file, yeah.
Okay. I'd like to find out where I'm sitting.
It's just an option. I think it's worth a phone
Yeah.
call to a company that would do it.
Some are really good, some will look like a forest. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hit or
If we
miss.
want to stop the problem, we gotta be a little more aggressive by not
Yeah.
forcing it on them, but giving them some options to get it going.
Yeah, right now we need to do something.
Yeah.
And that's
Shane,
just-
do you have an estimate of how much I&I is being caused by a typical service line that's grown up with?
It's so widespread, it's,
I mean, is it?
So-
I get-
so the flows usually hit pretty quick. And there's some vacant buildings, I mean, just the ones we walked through with the county that were forfeited, that have roofs rotted out and everything else. All that water ends up in the sewer, because it falls right through the house, or, there's that all over. So that contributes, tree roots contribute, any roof drains that we don't know about, or gutter leaders, or anything like that we don't know about, that on these older houses maybe, or footing drains. We just don't know that it's so widespread that you just have to scope each house, and eventually you find most of them, but.
Well, I'd be most in favor of going after the lowest hanging fruit first.
Well, and that's what this ordinance is here, it's when the change of properties, whether it's contract for deed or with a realtor or whoever, that's gonna create work right there, which
Yeah.
we can handle. It's just following up on it, that's gonna be the first piece.
I think we could call for this public hearing to move this ordinance along, and then we can still try to come up with a plan to assist homeowners or whatever. I'm gonna be devil's advocate here. I'm not gonna be that we pay for people, because people have had to do this themselves already, so I don't think it's fair, because people that have been non-compliant, now we give them money to do what other house owners have had to pay on their own. But I'm for, if we want to do something like Dave said, where we can try to get them the best deal for
Check it out.
doing it.
We can do that. Well, that's what the public hearing is for, is to move ahead with and we can always add to it or put another, another ordinance in that would expand it on it a little bit. But this will get things started.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like the idea, but I don't know how work intensive it would be. You said, we've done the street projects and those have been cameraed. How time intensive would it be, or do those homeowners already know they're non-compliant?
They haven't been notified, unless there's a footing tile, but
So, I mean, how intense would that be to at least start notifying people that have already had the camera done, so they shouldn't have to pay for that to get it redone, correct?
I mean, if it was shot in 2021 and 2022, I guarantee it's shot now.
And you have all those videos. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a couple of them that you just didn't, and he gave me a call and he says, and it's like somewhere like a jungle.
I don't know how some of them work, to be honest with you.
Where we can start doing that if we already have the film, let those people, give them notice, so that when we say, okay, if you're interested in doing it, we're going to try to get so many homeowners to do this. I don't have a problem with us spending some time trying to coordinate it, because I do think it's important, because we cannot continue to have these water issues like we continue to have.
Yep.
But I do not believe in the city giving any type of money or anything like that to people.
I did not suggest, well, maybe it sounded that way. I'm not saying we should give them money, but I'm just saying, can we help ease the pain on the payment? Say it's $10,000 if we do it over 3 years or something, so that they don't have to come up with $10,000.
But we're footing that bill, or who's going to foot them that money, George? If
you
you
stick a little interest on there, just like you have to stick on for charges for the camera. I mean, you just got to put all your facts in there and then say, this is our program.
We have over $1 million in our sewer fund that we could use as the frontage money. And if they did not pay back, then wouldn't it go on their property taxes?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would really have to discuss these options.
I'm just throwing out that fact.
We're going down
And if
the
a
route.
house is sold, you lose your leverage of getting paid for the work.
All right, well, we can discuss this in the hearing.
Yeah, I think we
Putting
need
a sleeve through there, how are you gonna cut that
Okay.
off of the street?
They can do, you're talking for lining?
Yeah.
They have little robots that go through and they cut all that, so. That's
That is a part of the cost, though, because there's some street damage that goes along with this.
Yep.
Okay.
And they would have to put, so everything that was done in the lining project, they lined everything up to the property line there. They had to put cleanouts in for those stubs. So there would have to be a cleanout put in, so there'd be a little bit of digging even with a lining project. So.
And I think that's a great question, Seth, that you asked about how much of the current problems over the past week were caused by some of these spikes. I don't know that we could ever come up with that answer. How bad, until it's all fixed.
Usually when the rain hits, it's usually within 20 minutes it starts flooding manholes. So we don't have much time. And then even today our flows are still up from we're at about 1,000 gallons a minute, just below it right now. We were up over 3,000 the other day for the rain, but when the rain started last Monday, before everything started a week ago, we were at 150 gallons a minute. So that's how much it flies off the chart. And as soon as it hits 2,000, we're flooding basements. So
That's on 7 inches of rain as opposed to 17 inches of rain further south.
That's how we got to figure out a way to get added a little faster.
Well, this will be a start again. We're just asking you to call for the public hearing for July the 22nd. So.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to call for the public hearing on sewer ordinance 389 on July 22nd at 6:30 p.m.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion?
question. So under this current draft, if it was approved at the end of July, it would go into effect 30 days after the publication and so forth, roughly?
Yeah, after the publication.
I just, I'm as, I agree with Jerry that we've got to do some things, and this is a reasonable step. But I kind of worry about, think about the timing of someone who listed their house for $80,000, and they're thinking they sell it, they're going to get $20,000 worth of equity out of it or whatever, and then all of a sudden the goalpost has been changed by the city, and I'm going to lose $10,000 of equity. So it's just something to think about timing.
But you've talked to all the realtors?
I've talked to a couple of the realtors. This would have to be something where I would sit down and talk to the local ones, which I've already set up a meeting with a couple of them already. Giving them, saying, what do you think? This is a tough decision. It's where we talked about it, and there's a problem, and we're trying to solve the problem. But yes, that would be, it's going to create some aches and pains on following up with this, because we have to have a follow-up system. There has to be a certificate of compliance. Is some of them going to slip through the cracks? Well, I would hope not, but
Well, I'm just thinking that it doesn't help people that are going to sell privately, but at least people that are going through realtors. The realtors now, if we give them the information that it's going through public hearing, this could be coming down the pipe here by August.
August 15th might be the
so
date.
as they meet with someone that's looking to sell their house, they can say, well,
we need to adjust for that.
yes.
For you to live in Tracy, we need to have and who knows, does it pass? On certain ones. We sell, I'm going to say 25 houses here in town a year. I don't know how many of those are going to be uncompliant. I don't know.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Teigs.
Aye.
Arvisu.
Yes.
Landite.
Aye.
Heinrichs.
Aye.
Shones.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Mayor Corman.
Aye.
Okay, let's go to staff reports. Would you mind if we do a couple of staff reports before we get you up here for the audit presentation? Because I know a couple of them have to get it going. Anybody who would like to stay and listen to that good information? But Jessica, I know you've got to go, so could you go up first, please?
They're already late.
She's already late, yes.
That's okay. I have people going.
I asked Jessica to come here tonight as the pool manager just to update everybody on what's going at the pool for the first, we're looking at 3-4 weeks already, so.
Welcome to your first staff meeting, or not meeting, report.
Yeah, so we've gotten a ton of compliments on the work that the city did on painting the features and the lining. Gotten so many compliments on all of it and how nice it looks out there now. Our expenses are up quite a bit this year because of chemicals and painting the pools and all that. And our revenue is a little bit down by like 2,000 from last year to this year, but it's up from 2020 still. And this is through the 16th. And our season pass is down about 125. We did switch to the online for the beginning of it instead of coming here and having the night. And a lot of people were overly confused with the system that we had. But we have season passes still coming in. I think I got 2 of them more today. So they're still consistently coming in. And our swimming lessons are still coming in, but we are still about 30 short from where we were last year too, going to online compared to coming in and doing it all.
30 kids short?
Yep. We had 65 all of 2023, and 2024 we are we've done 34 so far, but we are gonna be after tomorrow we'll have probably 45, 50 go through already, and then we still have more for session 2 and 3.
So is there an option other than online for people?
Now there is, yep, at the, just come and sign up now at the pool.
You could always come in and sign up online. We just tried to avoid the fiasco that we'd have every year of people lined up out to the door and having to bring in 8 people for 4 hours to get everything done, and then, of course, having the city employees having to sit in there and count the money, everything coming in. So we had some bugs. We knew that there was going to be some bugs, and there was. We still have to do some things with the site that we have them on. We have to do some work to make sure it continues to work. There was some bugs up front.
So that's for both swimming lessons and season passes.
Everything.
That
yes.
was up until we opened on May 31st. And then May 31st, we shut down the website so they couldn't purchase anything there. And then everything had to be purchased out at the pool.
Krista Vanderdrees did a fabulous job of keeping track for us because she's with the utilities and everything, money coming in. She did a fabulous job of keeping track for us and sending us reports out daily.
So do you think now that the bugs are taken out of there that like next year it won't be so confusing and we'd hopefully end up with some more people back? Because that's kind of...
Personally, and I haven't talked to Jeff about this or anything yet, but personally, the form that we used was not the most user-friendly. And our system that we used did not speak to our payment network system. And so there was a lot of miscommunication and missed payments, and people couldn't figure out because they had to completely close out of that window, go open payment network. But if they just opened it, if they already had an account, it would go to utilities instead of the miscellaneous payment. So if we can get the systems to talk, I think it would be fine. Or do the option of open it paper and online at the same time. And
that might be a possibility of having less people here and opening up. You can either do it online or on there. Because it wasn't, I'll just give you an example. My daughter brings her 3 girls over there, but she pays her water bill in a different way. And when she tried to go in and pay it, it rerouted her a different way.
Yep.
So there was some issues that had come up that we didn't see ahead of time. We wouldn't have been able to see ahead of time until we tried it.
Unfortunately, that's a lot of 125 season passes. That's kind of a
yeah, it is.
We raised the fee a little bit this year. Do you
Yep.
think that stung a little? No?
We've sold quite a few more coupon books, but I mean, what else do you have to raise the fees?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. You've how many days have you lost to rain?
Quite a few. I don't have, so last week I know we were open in the morning most of the days, but then we would have to close early with the weather, or I think there was only 2 days that there was completely closed. Otherwise it's been early closures because we had tornado watches or warnings, and then rain delays and thunder, and yeah.
Hasn't been a good week.
No.
And our first hot weather really is just kind of getting started.
Yep.
So
And yesterday we were really busy. Today we've been busy. So it's going.
And the wages were, tell me.
Yep. So the 14-year-olds front desk, top of slides, like water assistant, or like the top of slides attendants, and then the front desk, they are at $10.59. Lifeguards are at $11.60. WSI is at $11.90, and assistant managers are $12.20. I think $12.19.
Looks like you've got good numbers on your staff.
Yeah, we have 29.
Okay. Is there the person at the top of the slide? Could you outfit them with an umbrella or something? Or
Yep, they have the option to bring it up there. They just, a lot of them don't like it. I don't know. We have enough umbrellas for all of the guard stations.
Yeah. Do you have sunscreen available to kids
Yep.
if they come? Okay.
I purchased sunscreen and have it up there for all of them. I encourage it. We have the Culligan waters out there. We make sure that they're staying hydrated. Because when I was guarding, I did get heat exhaustion, and it has affected me the rest of my life.
So, were you asking for sunscreen for the lifeguards or for kids?
Well, for kids that are
Yeah.
Oh, not for the
He was
kids,
talking
for the
about
lifeguards.
Yeah.
That work, but I mean, if a kid asks for a sunscreen and we have one, and if the city doesn't buy the sunscreen, I bring the sunscreen in for myself. So I'm not going to tell a little 10-year-old, no, you can't have sunscreen.
Well, I thought
Maybe you
that
could have some for purchase. Can you do that? Like have some for, in case somebody forgot to bring sunscreen or something?
It's an idea, I guess.
I
Yeah.
thought, Jesse, I thought the United Fund gives some money every year to the aquatic center, and I thought some of that was to go toward sunscreen for kids that are sent to the pool without any and obviously needed.
That I'm not aware of.
Last year, it went all to the, a new backboard. The whole United Fund did. Yeah, but they do every year. Carol gives me a call every year to fill out the application.
Well, whatever. I just think that kids
Yeah.
need to have access to sunscreen, and maybe there's someone out there in TV land that would be willing to donate some if there's any.
Well, let's hope that it doesn't rain for another 4 months, 5 months.
Yes, I would be
No,
okay
don't
with
get silly.
All right. Thank
You
you.
have a
Yep,
great.
any
busy-
other questions?
No.
All right, thank you guys.
Is there any other department heads that want to get up and go right now before the auditor comes? Except for Tam?
I just wanted to make a quick comment. A quick comment. So Jess was talking about the online system that we had, and it didn't work. It was bad. But Krista Vanderdriese, she went to a meeting that was about something called the Community Portal, and it's with the software system that we already use. It's called Casell Civic Systems. It's just an add-on to the software that we already use, and it would be a new online portal that links directly with the software that we already have. It's from the same company, and everything could go through there. You could do building permits through there. You could do your utility payments. You could do the aquatic center, and we could make up new things that we want to have be paid through there.
Tyler sent Krista to this training just for training. She'd never been to any kind of training at all, so we sent it to her, and we come out of there with some good ideas.
How expensive?
The training wasn't bad at all.
I think for the system, I want to say the first year it would be like something like between 3,000 and 4,000, but then future years, I think it's under 1,000 a year. I don't remember exact prices right now, but in that ballpark. So we're planning on budgeting for it. So because I mean we already use another system called the Payment Service Network, and it would replace that one, so we wouldn't have to be paying out anything to Payment Service Network.
And then marry the system.
Marry them together, yes, and go with the current system that we have with Casell, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep, so then when someone says, I want to buy a season pass, then they'd have to pay for it. Instead of, I want a season pass, close that window, go somewhere else. I'm going to pay $50 for a swimming lesson instead. Like, it was not working. It'll work a lot better.
Thanks, Tyler.
Chief wants to give you one.
Yeah,
Hey.
you're gonna get it going? That's fine.
So, liquor store sales were up about 10,000 from budget. Our inventory purchases were probably pretty close to right at budget. Our cash flow this month was almost 20,000. Next month, you okay? Next month, our purchases are going to end up being way more because gearing up for the 4th of July type of thing. Stacy and I went to Blaine to the open house for the global distribution is what the name of it is. It's where we get like the vapes and that kind of thing. Just by going up to that, we spent a little money, but just because we went up to that event, you could only get it that day at that event, and we saved like $792 for something we're going to be selling anyways. We probably sell $200 to $250 a day almost in the vape type stuff, so that was worth us going. We learned a few things when we were up there. It's like, tell us how some of this stuff works. But anyways, Beverage Dynamic Top 10 Retailer Award for 2024. The conference was good. We did some good networking. They had some good seminars. Aloha Night's coming up. Everybody get your tickets.
Get your Aloha Night
When is that
tickets.
again?
And the 12th of July.
Say that again.
12th of July. And then there's a discount if you buy your tickets ahead of time versus at the door. We have raffle tickets for raffle prizes and that kind of stuff too. So come support us, and the proceeds go to the park. How am I saying that right?
Parks Committee.
The park
Improvement
improvements.
Project.
Okay.
So any excess money will go right to them. Could be $500, it could be $750. It's not a lot of money. This isn't a huge moneymaker for us.
And
We need
yeah,
more people to come.
so we need
It could be, yep.
definitely.
$20, $15 in advance, $20 at the door. The city is going to be giving a pool pass for 2025 as one of the prizes again.
So that price includes your meal, any of the activities at the pool. So we have a DJ.
Pleasure of dealing with Dave Teagues.
I know, right? Sampling.
Sadly, it won't see me this year, so
Sadly, what?
I'm not going to be there.
I'm not going to watch you do a belly flop.
I don't belly flop.
What was that?
Okay.
So, anybody questions at all, or?
Tim, are you going to be open on the 4th?
Yes.
What hours?
Probably 10 to 6 or 7, something like that. Oh, wait a minute. Is it on a Thursday or Friday?
Thursday.
I can't remember if we did regular hours that day because it's going into the weekend, I think is what I did. But, yeah, there's 2 on staff. So, yeah, pretty sure we're doing regular store hours that day.
Okay.
Because it's like in between, so the weekend should be a good one
Yeah.
before and after.
Good.
Depending how people pick how they want to do the 4th.
Do you need more Blackberry Crown in?
Yeah.
What
I
was
mean,
that?
hopefully.
My bird dog blackberry, it's better.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, move on.
That is.
Yeah, you're just paying for the name.
Oh, you
Right.
sell one.
Anybody else have any questions at all?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Congratulations on your award.
Yeah,
Thank
way to
you.
go, girl. Team, way to
You
go,
and your
team.
staff.
Way
Yeah,
to
you
go,
and your
team.
staff.
Or did you already do it?
I will make this quick for you. Everything I had for you is in my report. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Well, I noticed you got some books coming in the Hmong language and Spanish.
Mhm.
Is that by request? Did you see a demand or need there?
Well, it's just a trend that we've seen, particularly with some Latino community members who we've seen new to the community. So we wanted to provide some books for them. But the main reason that we were able to do it was because we received a grant through Prairie Lands for $1,000, and we're able to buy a lot of new materials with that. And the idea of it was making your library more accessible to people in your community. And one of those areas that they were targeting were bilingual books, or books in other languages. So
Okay.
It's nice that they did that.
yeah, they have a new one out now for marketing. I need to decide what I want to do before I apply for it.
I thought you meant before you grew up.
Well, that too.
Speaking of grants, I saw in one of your minutes that you got a new device, an accessibility. Tell me out. What's
So
it?
that was part of that grant too. We have one that it can act as a translator. It also can read aloud to people. And the other one is a magnifier that's portable. We actually still have one of those where you put something underneath the magnifier and it puts it up on the screen. Well, this is one that people can actually take home with them, and it just blows it up right on the screen so that you can read your materials right from there.
Sounds very cool for
Yeah.
someone who needs that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also glad to see you're having an open house now to feature your mural.
Yep, that we're planning August 23rd. I don't have times for you yet, but I will make sure that that gets out to all of you.
Free coffee and lemonade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeff's cooking.
I'm cooking.
It turned out really well.
It did. It's beautiful.
Thanks, Phil.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Val.
Nice job.
Jason?
Last but not least. Oh no, we got Tyler.
I don't have anything to add other than what's on my report, so if you have any questions,
How's the new squad working?
it's working well.
How's the mileage?
How's the mileage?
Don't matter.
I wouldn't expect it to be very well driving around town at 30 miles an hour all day, so.
Chief, it looks like from your report you're getting off relatively light on the barking dog complaints.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
It goes in cycles.
Yeah.
Any idea what we saved with part-time hours on regular this past? How much does he work, their part-time person?
0.
Oh, he hasn't, did he? Okay. I didn't. Guess I didn't notice.
Yeah. In fact, I think he's signed up so far for one shift that fits his schedule.
Okay.
So, which it's one shift on the end of 4 nights of work, where instead of me doing 4 nights in a row and then switching back to day shift on Tuesday morning, he's going to take that Monday night. So it's going to let me do day shift on Monday so I can make fire drill and not in uniform, and so it at least works out on a nice day.
So does that mean you hired a part-timer that's gonna fill in, or that?
At his
At his
convenience.
Yeah, at his convenience.
Yeah. So it's Officer or Deputy Dustin Damuth, who used to work here before. So when he has time off in his schedule that fits an opening for him to take a night shift in our schedule, then he'll take it. So like I said, it's only worked out for. He's got 1 shift coming up in July. So it's still 1 shift.
They say, yep.
So,
Thank you.
yep. Have a good night.
Thanks, Jason.
Tyler, I know you got to stay, but do you want to go first? Sure.
I guess the only thing I wanted to highlight, it was pretty interesting with camping this year. Like, we had such a beautiful warm May that we went from 0 revenue in May of 23 to over 3,000 in May of this year. So that was kind of exciting.
Are some of those some of the construction people out of the school, or are they just travelers?
I couldn't tell you. I know a lot of the revenue, though, it was people who are paying for like a month at a time. I think we had one person who paid for the whole summer.
School contractors.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a lot of people calling, can we reserve places? And no, first come, first serve. And so when they came, they bought a lot. Any questions? All right.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Unless you don't want to.
All right. So you have the 2023 audit in front of you.
I didn't get one.
We, I think you thought that it was only 5 people in the.
Did I short you?
Yeah, you shorted us. So,
And
I meant to.
Okay, it's just I do use them.
Yep, I
And
can.
so I just wanted to let you know, if you can't provide one tonight, that's okay, but I would like one eventually.
I was gonna ask you on Thursday when I stopped, and it spaced my mind because we had like 18 written down. I was like, they do not need that many with digital copies now, but.
About 10 we can use though. So
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, and I didn't count them when I was here. That was my fault. I didn't count them.
Yeah, and I didn't remember to say that, but.
You said you had brought yours home, right?
Yes, I brought it back.
Okay.
So I'll wait till Tyler gets back with it, so you know what we're.
That's okay. I can follow.
Oh, we'll start with the audit opinion letter. It's going to be in about 7 physical pages in the larger book. The larger one is your actual audit. That's the 2023 audit report.
Basically what this gives you is on page 2 at the top, the one that's on the letterhead, this starts with the opinion letter. So this is what the audit is all after. On page 2, the first section there gives you the opinion on the financial statements, and it gives you an unmodified or a clean audit opinion for 2023. We feel the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the city of Tracy. It tells you that you guys prepare your financial statements in accordance with government auditing standards. And then at the bottom there of page 2, it gives the responsibility of management or the city of Tracy. You're responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. So the city does take ownership of the financial statements, even though we assisted you in preparing the financial statements. And then on page 3 at the top there, it gives the auditor's responsibility. If you've been looking at audit reports for lots of years, this section has about tripled in size. Basically, in a nutshell, what that tells you is our responsibility is to express the opinion on the financial statements. So again, the clear lines, even though I brought these and I put them together, they're the city of Tracy's financial statements. The work of the auditor is the stuff that's on the letterhead, the opinion letters. And then if you skip back a little ways, starting on page 6 gives you what we call the management's discussion and analysis. So that's going to give you a narrative overview of the financial statements. So we'll skip through all of the reading and go right to the numbers on page 16. So pages 16 and 17 give what we call the government-wide financial statements. So the government-wide financial statements show the city combined as a whole. It's going to show you similar to how you see a private business report with all the long-term assets and liabilities. On the middle of the page on 16, it shows the total assets for the city on the right-hand side, $46,546,000. On the next section there, deferred outflows of resources, that is a unique label to a government, so that has to do with the net pension liability, and that's related to deferred outflows of resources, so money out in future years. The liabilities for the city combined as a whole was $28,353,000. The deferred inflows of resources also relate to that net pension liability of $1.1 million. And then that total net position, that gives you the net worth of the city, $18,138,000. Of that, the top line there, that net investment in capital assets, $12 million, that is the money that you have tied up in the buildings, the infrastructure, roads, equipment, less what you owe on those items, so that's not spendable resources. The unrestricted net position, $3.569 million, that would be the available resources that the city has at its disposal at the end of the year. Of it, about $942,000 is in the governmental activities, and $2,627,000 is what's in the enterprise funds or the business type activities. On page 17 shows a statement of activities. So again, this is kind of a unique income statement to a government. We start on the left-hand side with the expenses and work our way over to revenues. The third line from the bottom gives the overall change in net position or the increase or decrease in the funds for the year. In the private world, we call it a profit or loss. The change in net position for the governmentals were $1.9 million, and the business type activities were $4.1 million, for an overall increase of $6 million for 2023. On page 18, back up to page 17. One of the reasons you have such a high increase in the business type activities is due to the grant funds for the water and sewer projects. So that's in the capital grant section, kind of the middle of the page, $4.3 million. So it's not that the water and sewer funds profited the $4 million last year. A big chunk of that is due to the grant funds buying the assets.
Which will straighten themselves out this coming year.
Right, when the project's closed, yes. On page 18 shows the balance sheet for the governmental funds. So the city has the general fund, which is your operating fund. The assets for the general fund were $1,140,000. Liabilities about $113,000. Here we see deferred inflows of resources related to unavailable revenue. That is the property tax assessment dollars that have been levied on homeowners and not paid at the end of the year.
So it was about 52,000 for the total fund balance of 974,000, of which 942,000 is your unassigned fund balance. So your unassigned fund balance is the city's working capital at the end of the year. That's the amount of money you have to meet obligations in the future. The Phase 3 Street Project Fund has 574,000 of restricted, and the non-major governmentals has 2,261,000 combined. Page 19 gives a reconciliation between the first balance sheet we saw with all the long-term assets and liabilities of the city, and then the one we just saw where those are not included. So it shows those effects of those long-term items. On page 20, the general fund total revenues were $2,319,000, expenditures of $2,321,000, and then you had transfers in of about $200,000, so a total increase in the general fund of $198,000. Most of those transfers came from your enterprise funds over into the general fund. The Phase 3 Street Project Fund had a decrease of $223,000. That's just due to spending down some of those bond funds that you had previously received. And then the non-majors had a decrease of $705,000. On page 21, again, gives a reconciliation between the statement of activities, that first income statement we saw and the one we just saw. So it shows you that current effect of those long-term assets and liabilities and on that financial statement. So in the one method, the total decrease was $731,000, and on the other method, the increase was the $1.9 million. Most of it has to do with just buying more capital assets, the capital outlay purchased in 2023. On pages 22 and 23 give the balance sheet. The asset side of the balance sheet for your enterprise funds. Combined, the assets were $4,224,000 for current, and then $31,331,000 in total assets. And then on pages 24 and 25 shows the liability side. So combined, the liabilities were $19,701,000. And the total net position was $11,574,000. Again, a good chunk of that net position, the net worth of the city, is what's tied up in those long-term assets, less what you owe on those items, $8.8 million. The $2.6 million is the resources the city has at the end of the year. On page 26 and 27 shows the statement of revenues and expenses and changes in net position, or the income statement for those funds. The change in net position towards the bottom, that gives the overall increase or decrease in the fund. The water had a $1.5 million increase. Again, 1.6 of that was from grant money. The sewer had a $2.6 million increase. 2.7 of that was from grant funds. Liquor had a $38,000 overall decrease. That was after the transfer. So when the state looks at was the liquor fund self-sustaining, they're going to look at that income or loss before transfers, which was a positive $53,000. The deputy register fund had a $7,490 increase, and the public housing had a $12,000 decrease. And then the storm sewer, $500 increase, and the solid waste had a $7,000 increase. And then page 28 and 29 shows the cash flow statement. So we always push, positive income is what makes sense in your enterprise funds, as well as positive cash flow. One of the things you're going to see in like your utility funds is the decrease in cash, just because you're spending down some of those cash funds with the purchase of assets. The water had an increase of $673,000. Sewer had a decrease of $1,710,000. The deputy register had a decrease of $28,000, and the public housing decrease of $4,000, and the storm sewer decrease of $34,000. So on one note, one of the kind of major changes you guys are going to see, your cash between water and sewer substantially changes. Originally, all of the grant funds in 2023 were put into sewer. And when we reevaluated stuff and looked at the USDA funding, some of that was actually water grant and some sewer. So that 1.6 million in water was shifted out of sewer into water. So if you look at your cash balance, just because the comment was made earlier, on page 22, water cash is actually 1.5 million, sewer cash is 143,000. And then if you skip ahead a little ways, kind of, in my opinion, one of the most important notes for you guys to take a look at is on page 44. I know when we met on Thursday, I met with Tyler and Jeff on the financials a little bit and went through a few things. We kind of talked about this. So essentially your fund balance, your unassigned fund balance, is the working capital of the city. Cities, it's really important to maintain positive unassigned fund balance and make sure it hits within that range. The state writes a range of 35 to 50% for cities. Essentially, you're heavily reliant on intergovernmental revenues, or LGA, and then tax money, which only get paid to you twice a year, 6 months, 7 months into the year, and then again at the end of the year. So I always look at it, even before I had a different meeting before you guys, and they said, well, where are we at with our cash? And I'm like, what I'm showing you at the year end is your high point. And then you work your way down, and like right now, because you probably haven't got LGA and tax money, is your low point. So kind of compare the two and see where, where are we at our high point, and then where are we at right before those resources come in, because that's really your low point of revenue or cash. The unassigned fund balance for the general fund, when we looked at it in relation to 2024 budget, it was 39.3%. I believe last year was the low 30s. So you guys did substantially come up from that into that state target range. Any questions on that amount?
Yay for us.
Yay for us.
And essentially, most of that was just the shifting of money out of your enterprise into your general fund, which is what they're supposed to do, is self-support or supplement the general fund. There's my word. And then if you skip ahead a little ways, towards the back here, the financial statements of the non-major governmentals are shown individually, but if you skip through that and go to page 91, again, you guys had over $750,000 of federal funds spent in 2023, so there was what we call a single audit or a uniform guidance audit, so we had to take evaluation of the programs of the federal funds. Of that, the federal dollars spent are comprised on that page. There were $3,849,000. That's a combination of loan and grant dollars. So mostly I think it was grant received in 2023. And then on page 92 and 93 is the letter in internal control. And essentially what that tells you is we do not audit your internal control structure, but we have to take an evaluation of it. And anything that we note must be communicated to you. There's two findings on internal control. Basically, it's the same as what you've seen in the past. The lack of preparation of the financial statements. Ideal world, you'd have a much larger staff who actually puts together all the financial statements, and the auditors come in and throw the letters in. And then the lack of separation or segregation within the accounting function. Ideal world, you would have about 6 to 8 staff doing the various tasks of the accounting. You guys have good segregation. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's just really with the findings, it's an all or nothing. It's either you have the perfect structure or you don't have it. And so that's what's noted on there. And then the last page in there, on page 100, is the Minnesota legal compliance letter. And in relation to Minnesota legal compliance, you had no findings. If I remember right, you guys had a finding last year related to pledged collateral. So that was corrected, and you guys were in compliance this year. So that was the very high point overview. The other book you guys have, and I will get you some more copies, Jeff, I will throw them in the mail tomorrow, just has some comparative charts and graphs. Nothing really alarming that jumps out. I think if you kind of hit one of them that's again, the most important in my eyes is on page 5. And that really re-hits where you were even 2 years ago with that unassigned fund balance and where you are today in relation to your overall revenues and expenses. Where you were 2 years ago was probably borderline low, and where you are today is right where you want to be.
So what is it going to be in '24?
I don't know. What are you going to do?
Much as we can.
What's that?
Much as we can.
You know, the big thing is about it is just continue to watch those expenditures and maintain within the budget. What you don't have a lot of is excess reserves outside of the general fund. There's some. Most of it's kind of earmarked towards either paying down debt or towards the projects. The one thing we talked about, and I think that once this phase 3 gets totally cleaned up, most of that money, I believe, is money that's owed back to the general fund or to the city. A lot of these projects, when they start, you pay out a lot of pre-engineering long before you get funded, and then they go back and add that into the project. And so my guess is the city never paid themselves back those funds, and that's why you're sitting with $500,000+ there. So that should free up some of that cash once that project's closed. And the other thing to point out too is one thing that some cities struggle with is having positive debt service funds. And you have strong debt service funds. They're all within the guidelines of where you want to be as far as being able to make those bond payments and positive balances. Any other questions on everything?
Sarah, the net margins that we're showing in the liquor store and the deputy registrar's operations, how do those compare with the other municipals that you work with?
So your liquor store, so the liquor store, I would say is well, because you're showing a profit in your liquor store, it is strong compared to some. I had another meeting before you that had an off-sale only, and their margin was at 22.9%, and they had about a $40,000 loss. So to the tune of you want the liquor store to make a profit, it is where you want it to be. The deputy register, and we had a conversation about that. I have 4 cities who have that service. All 4 of you treat it differently. You guys treat it as an enterprise fund in this manner. I have one that treats it as a special revenue, one that puts it within general, and one that treats it as a fiduciary fund. And I told Tyler and Jeff, we need to do some research on this because I feel like there's not any consistency. Ideally, I don't believe it's an enterprise fund. The definition and the idea of an enterprise fund is something that you would run as a private business. Well, nobody's going to offer that kind of service as a private business, so it's not really comparable in that manner. And ultimately, all you're doing with it is keep collecting a fee and then turning it over to the general fund. So we talked about, just doing it as a line item right in the general fund and avoiding that extra step because all the funds go over there anyway. But that said, it's hard to see with that. And the other side too is like when you look at your overall revenues in the enterprise funds, it's showing over half of it's coming from the deputy register, but ideally it's really not sales of the city. You're not selling that $1.3 million. It's the state's sales. Yours is just the fees you keep. So we had a conversation about making some changes with that going forward. The net dollars are all going to stay the same. It's just a matter of that overall reporting and how it's being treated.
What are your thoughts about allocating labor expenses to the deputy?
That's one of my reasons why I said it doesn't make sense the way it is. Because right now you have a high labor there. One of my cities that has it within general fund that I can think of off the top of my head, they have like a little department within their general, and they actually allocate 100% of one person's salary to that. And then they can see, they're collecting $60,000 of net revenue, and this person cost them $50,000 or whatever.
So you'd like me to send a bill to the state, in other words?
And the one thing about it too is your hands are tied on that. Like the state tells you what fee you're going to collect. So there's nothing that the city can or can't do differently to ensure you're collecting more revenue, essentially. So it's a conversation we started, and I think they're going to kind of continue. And since you asked, I figured I would just kind of mention it. But ultimately, it's kind of, when I started looking at it, like, whoa, all of you are doing this very different. And that's one of my hardest, I mean, I had it about 65 cities in the state, and I see a lot of differences, and then the state tries to put you all in one report and compare you. And one of my pet peeves with that is, like, there are some inconsistencies, and it's not that either is wrong always, it's just treating things differently. And then, you know, a resident can go pull this report and compare their city to other cities, not understanding how the various reports are.
How about swimming pool operations? At one time, several years ago, that was considered an enterprise fund, and it's no longer.
So, I mean, ultimately, when you look at an enterprise fund, ideally an enterprise fund should be something that can self-sustain, that's not relying on tax revenue.
Right.
So if the idea is that, you know, these things are a service and the tax dollars are supplementing, then they really shouldn't be an enterprise fund. They can't, I mean, tax dollars can supplement it. Some people say, well, is it a way that we could see it separate? But most of your accounting systems, you can still departmentalize and see how each particular area is doing.
So we had a good 2023.
Strong general fund, balance where you want to be. Yeah.
Is the software and so forth set up so that well for you as an auditor? I mean, is the...
Yeah, your software is probably one of the more common ones with cities your size that I see. I'm pretty familiar with it because I have about 6 or 8. So even Tyler was telling you about that new software piece of it. I told him, I said, I know of 2 cities for sure, one that piloted this year, and actually I'm from Redwood Falls, and Redwood uses that, and I've used it myself with my own kids. So I told him I could give him a couple names if you guys do look at it and want to see what's out there. But yeah, I like this software. I feel like it does a better job speaking accounting language than some of them out there that are meant for government. So.
Thanks so much for
all right, thank you.
explaining this to us.
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
And how many more do you want?
If you could give us 2 more copies of each,
Perfect. I'll get them out.
that'd be enough, wouldn't it?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Tom, do you want to go?
Tyler, you want to take off? You can if you want.
Want to go? Sure. I'm done.
Oh yeah, he's done.
Already
Yeah,
done?
he's done.
You can go too, Tom.
All right, I'll follow the agenda. You have my report. Do you have questions? Aloha Night is coming up, as Tam said, July the 12th. I do have tickets, and I do have raffle tickets. One thing not on my report I do want to address and get it out, as Pam says, to TV land out there. We had Bolig contact us, Bolig Engineering, about some potential grants that we can apply for the city of Tracy, but for one criteria that we were just barely missing, and that is moderate to low income of 51% or greater for the city of Tracy. We could apply for some additional funding. We were at 51.5 or some really close margin by some other accounting that was done prior, and they round up naturally, and so we were just barely at that threshold. And so they offered to do a survey. That's one way of reestablishing where we really are. And so one of the things that they did was they sent out a letter to all of residents, or all of the addresses that they had in the city of Tracy. On some of those they would be
individuals who are renting. I have a number of them that say on their current resident, and it looked like this. And I don't know how many of you got one and how many of you completed it, but I do have a long list of addresses that did not complete it. We need it really badly. Thank you for those of you that reported, but as a result of a number of individuals that reported, our number is still not anywhere close to where we need to be, and right now we are at 13%, not 51. And so a large number of individuals, I feel, that are potentially a little bit adverse to doing something like this and reporting this. Perhaps seniors that are a little suspicious that, is this some kind of a scam? You know, these days there's just tons of scams and everybody's a little bit cautious. Where will this go? So basically there's just a few questions. Is this your current residence? Yes or no? You don't sign it. You put your property address at the top. There's no place to sign it. How many people live at your household? Does your family rent or own this property? And then you can indicate on here what your level of income is. And the first one is an income level of $0 to $51,350. And so what we really need to do is, it looks like we're going to wind up having to do some canvassing if we're not able to get individuals to respond to this. Our response ratio has been really low, and those who have responded are above the moderate to low income. And so it's kind of, we have to overcome a little bit of that if we're going to show where we really are. And I think we are. I think there's just no doubt in my mind that we're above that 51% threshold. We just are, the number that they use is well above. And I think that gets averaged out of the cities and some are larger communities. And so some of these numbers that they have in there for a family of 4 are well above, I think, what a number of individuals in our community are making. And so this would definitely be a help to everyone if we can get this accomplished.
So Tom, if you would have to go to Canvas, you already have a list of addresses that have completed it, so you wouldn't have to do necessarily the entire.
Correct. And if anything comes in that we have canvassed that shows up that the mail has just not delivered it, they have a way of tracking and making sure there's only one that's, once they get to that 51% threshold, they cut it off. So it's not going to change. We just need to make it to that, and then, you know, we can report, and that gets reported to deed. So nobody is double checking this. Bolig isn't doing any other background. It doesn't go to the IRS, doesn't go to the state, doesn't go to anyone else. And the only time that there would be any audit of this is if deed came out to Bolig and wanted to audit their survey, and they would want to see all the copies of this to see how they added up and to make sure it matches. But as I said, there's not anything on here where individuals should be apprehensive in completing it. And this is not to apply for a loan or anything, so don't jack up your income to make it look good or whatever like that. Just report what it is, and just, you know, and how many individuals in the household do you own or rent. That's all we need.
Tom, will there be a second mailing?
We're discussing how we're going to approach this. I'm still trying to figure out how many do we need to get to that number should no others show up, and it's kind of a moving target. But I'm thinking if we can get 200 more in, I think we'll probably move well above where we need to be, because I do see a number of areas in our community, addresses that I think are probably in that range.
If there was a second mailing, I think it might be more effective if there was a little note and picture from our friendly Tom Dobson or Jeff Carpenter or something.
I don't know.
A face that
Yeah.
we know.
It's tough to tell. I think if we may go to that, but I think hands-on is probably going to be the best way. And I think I'm going to just start approaching some of the organizations that are already meeting. I may tomorrow go down, if the ladies of the Lutheran Church are making quilts, I may go down there and just say, how many of you got this? And if you haven't, here's a form, could you complete it? Here's an envelope, just fold it up and put it in here. You know, nobody's gonna be looking, and we'll put them all in an envelope and we'll send it to Bolig at one time. So just so we can get this accomplished. So there's a number of those. If you want to participate a little bit and look at that address list, and maybe there's some people that you know that have not returned one that you would be able to go to and say, come on, John, it'd be all right for you to fill this out. Here's the form, and it would really help us.
We got some time. We don't have to get this in until November. Originally, they gave us a June 29th, which is this Friday, and we got a little nervous end of last week and today, and then, well, no, we would just put that date out there. So,
all right. Any other questions?
I had one, Tom. I noticed in your notes you said about getting the Sebastian Park, Elm Street lots ready for sale and so forth. I'm just wondering, would it really enhance the saleability of the lots to remove the bushes and stuff now? You do think so?
Yes, definitely.
Oh.
Yeah, without a doubt. I've sold a lot of lots, and it will help.
Okay.
Where is this at?
The Elm Street, right across the street from you.
Well, you can't move them, because they'll be inundated in snow.
We'll leave your pine trees.
Okay.
We'll leave one of the lines, the one closest to the, probably the fence. You know, Shane was, if we hadn't been inundated in 52 days of constant rain and mowing, we probably would have trimmed some of those, but we'll get to it.
So you're talking about bushes and some of those?
I don't know about the trees. I don't know that that's as necessary, but when you cannot stand on the lot and see, because the bushes are taller than any of us here, it's really tough to get the perspective of, okay, what will this look like if I build my house here? And those are pristine lots. We did have them surveyed. We don't have stakes out there yet. He did kind of a canvassing of it, and we'll show exactly how far they will be from the outfield fence. And then we did have the four corners of the 2nd Street lot. So you saw some new stakes out there next to you. And then we did go ahead and have the four corners of Orchard Lane set up too, because the EDA went out there one day to kind of look around, and we're going to have a clue how deep that was. It's a lot bigger than what I anticipated. So the four corners are located out there too. We got some room for expansion one day out there.
Is the expansion out there in Orchard Lane, is the sewer big enough to handle the expansion, or we have to come in with
I
a
asked
line?
Shane, and Shane thought that it was.
It was designed for that.
What our biggest issue out in that area is going to be the drainage. If we can work that out, I think it'll help both there and across the street and everywhere on down. That was our biggest corner of town that had the worst kind of results of that last rain. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Your turn. Well, if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to entertain my report. On top of that, I did send an email after my report from this weekend's pumping activities. As you all know, our system got overwhelmed. I also sent that email to Pear, so if he wants to write something up on it, he can. I did call a few of the culprits where we had backups in the past, and we don't have any reports of backups, and they didn't have anything to report as backups. So I think we made it through that one just fine. So hopefully it stops raining now for a while, but looks like we're in the clear for a little while anyway. So let it catch up a little bit. So
Thanks for your work over that.
Thank you.
no problem.
Nice job.
Just keep tackling the I&I issues. And hopefully we'll get there eventually when I retire. So, any other questions I can answer? Right now we're inundated with grass growing. We have right now we have more people than machines, but we're getting that figured out. just it's raining more than it's sunny. So, and then along with spraying, we notice there's probably weeds growing in multiple areas around town that usually don't. We've had one day where we could actually spray that wasn't raining or windy. We've started on it, but we have quite a lot to do yet. So
Everybody just needs to be patient. There's just so much we can do when it's an inch of rain or 40 mile an hour winds, and there's nothing that has been forgotten on any list. It's just, it takes time to get to everything, and we're shorthanded. So that doesn't help.
Well, like I said at the last council meeting, if the grass has to be longer, I mean, that's just the way it is. It's fine, you know.
yeah, it gets harder to get mowed when it gets too long.
That's true, yeah.
We do run into issues there.
More work.
There's a lot of grass underwater yet, so between the airport, the cemetery has a lot of grass underwater right now, so there's a few in the parks. The park's dried up quite a bit over the last 24 hours, thank goodness, but hopefully it keeps going that way and it's done raining for a while, at least in those quantities.
Gene, with the airport, the state actually requires a certain, that if they don't want the grass over a certain
Right.
length, is that right?
Yep. For runways, it's 6 inches is kind of their max. Creates too much drag when they land otherwise. But that doesn't, with that new mower, that's not been really a big issue out there. We've been able to keep up pretty quick, so right now we're just waiting for it to dry out so we can mow it. So there's ducks floating out there. So anything else? Bollig's done too with our lead service inventory for what the grant will cover. There's a few houses we have to try to get, say where the funding's about out for what Minnesota Department of Health will pay them. So we'll be running around, a few different people in my staff, including myself, will be trying to get the ones that they missed that they couldn't get a hold of people on. So we have to submit everything we have by July 8th so we can get that to Department of Health. So
Have there been many lead service lines identified in the survey so far?
I think we're at 3 right now.
Okay.
There's a couple suspicious, but I couldn't really, because they're right at the floor. They're hard to tell what they are. Those are in tax forfeited houses. They're not occupied right now,
But it should be relatively rare.
it's a very low number that we have for lead services for the age of some of our infrastructure out there. And most of them are on the east side of town. A lot better than other cities.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Shane.
So I just got a couple things that I want to talk about. Last Thursday, we had the opportunity to go into 12 of the tax forfeited properties here in Tracy. And I just want to bring this up, and this is what we need to work on as a community. Marshall had 1, Minneota had 1, Lind had 1, Cottonwood had 1, Ballatin had 2, and Tracy had 12. So as you can see, we're way behind in, and these are the tax forfeited people just decided they're not going to pay their taxes. So we have and I know I brought this up last time, 4 weeks ago, we have it's a problem. We went into, out of all of the houses that we went into, there was 4 of them, if not 5 of them, that we probably shouldn't have went in. I had to throw my shoes away. It was disgusting. So we do have an issue there. Now we are getting closer to the possibility of the tax forfeiture houses being sold. So we have some interested parties that we are working on that with a few people here in town that maybe want to take one that's close to being. It's got to be dry. We had a few of them that weren't dry. They were, in fact, obviously weren't dry with all the rain we've had. But we do have an issue, and we are attacking that with Chief Lichty and Shane, and us getting tougher on our what we're expecting out of our citizens with just with not only cleaning up, but there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do about the tax forfeiture properties, except for now it's going to become our problem. So we are working with the county auditor, and the report with the 2 or 3 people that were with Shane and I and Tom who was with us, and that is going back to the auditor in Marshall, and they're going to see if there's any kind of programs that they might have that we can get some help with some of these. We don't have any choice but I don't know what kind of program that they have. I don't know what kind of program the state's going to have. The state owns them, but the county takes care of them, but they sit in the city limits, and we can't have these houses sitting here anymore. There's some of them that we cannot. There's a couple of them that were in bad shape, but the roof is holding up. So there's no water in them. We had a few of them in there. Again, we probably should not have been in there. We're walking downstairs. We shouldn't have been. And it was...
Are they secure?
Yes. Yeah, as secure as they can.
People cannot gain entrance,
as
children exploring.
We found a couple instances where there's been people in there, but they've had locks on there, but there's always a broken window. So, yes. And there's a couple of the houses were actually in good shape that need to be getting into some good hands where they can turn them into houses for families. I'm going to be working with Tyler here. We're going to have to figure out about getting, no matter we get help or not, we're going to have to get rid of a few of these. We've come down to ranking them out of the 12, and we do have 4 of them that they have to go.
Really bad, huh?
Really, really bad.
We could do that about the same time they do as an old liquor store. That would help.
Yeah, well, we got to figure out whether we can get some help on these first, and that's what we're looking for from the county. So we are talking to the county about that right now.
How many you said that really need? 4?
I'd say 4 or 5.
And Jeff, how many vacant houses are there in Tracy, did you say?
At one point I counted those, and that would have been about a year ago, and I believe there was 39. But there's some of them that have new roofs on them that are still vacant, and so there's some ones that, we just have some people that own them here in town that just aren't doing anything with them.
But all of those vacant houses, they're candidates for being worth for nothing to be bulldozed down, and that's what we got to work on somehow.
So it's an issue. It really is. It's an issue that we have because we can't. It's not just that house, but those people have neighbors.
Yeah.
There's people living right next to these houses, and that's just not right. So we are working on that, and I would like to have some kind of plan put together with our budget for this coming year, setting aside a certain amount of money for those 4 or 5 houses. So we're working with the county on that too. That has to make sense where the state gets them back because they didn't pay their taxes. So then, because you have 5 years of not paying your taxes, and that's what happens is, I'm not going to do anything with my house. I'm going to walk away from it. It's great. You don't pay your child support. We used that as last week. You don't pay your child support, you get taxes back 3 or 4 years from now. They're going to come back after that. You don't pay your taxes on a house, nobody's coming after you. Not a great system.
And then it's our problem.
Yeah. It's our problem, or it's the people's problem that we have, and we're going to have more of them that are going to come. But just to put the comparison in there, when you got Cottonwood about our size, Ballatin's half our, not even half our size, has 2. So it was disappointing. Liquor store will be down by July 15th, which we reported on before. And that's all I've got for now. Okay. If there's no questions, let's move on to new business, Mayor, if we could.
Absolutely.
I'll go into this Resolution 2024-64 rehabilitation loan on Squatch building owned by city on a contract for deed to Sanders and Wendland. So what we're signing off on here is the fact that they applied for one of the grants here in town, one of the $50,000 grants, which, if you remember right, it's $35,000 in grant, $10,000 in a loan from the grant and then $5,000 loan from the city. So we have to sign off on this so they can get this money. The only, that loan for that building started out, I bet 3 years ago now, and that was at $54,000. Right now, that loan to them, the new contract for deed, is down to, I believe, right around $30,000. So we could not sign off on this, and they wouldn't get all that money to put in that building. The only thing that we have that would come against us is if they walked away from that building, and then it would be ours. So, but the fact is all that money would be in the building, which we all know that over there, that building needed that kind of attention. So my recommendation would be we need to sign off on this, but I wanted to give you, what would happen in the
So we're signing off on about $30,000 is what you're saying?
35,000, I believe is what it is, George, yeah, 35,000. But that's over a 7-year span, so it comes off, is that 15% every year it comes off of that amount?
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2024-64 regarding a rehabilitation loan on the Squatch building owned by the city on a contract for deed, Sanders and Wentland.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a first, a second, and I have a question. So we're signing off on their loan of 30,000?
No.
Or what are we
No.
signing off on?
Just because it was a contract for deed, there's a different way. Like if you owned with the small cities grants that we've had in the past for houses, if there is the person who owns the house or owns the contract for deed would have to meet the standards of the income. There were no income levels for the commercial ones. So we just had to sign off on that we would pay back the grant if they ever left and walked away.
Just allowing
It's just allowing them to get the grant.
Okay.
So, now you opened up a question for me. If, and God forbid, I'm sure they won't do that, but we're signing off on $35,000 plus a $50,000 grant?
No.
Well, 35,000 is the grant.
Oh, okay.
And then they will have a loan of 10,000 if they take that from the grant itself also, which makes 45,000. And then we have a certain amount of money in our CDBG that we will be giving. No, actually, that's a part of the grant also, as that money will be paid back to the city for a total of 50,000.
And if they ever walked away, we have the building.
We have the building and the improvements. So
We're kind of making them the owners of record on a
Yeah,
contract for deed,
right.
so they can apply for this other small
I
city.
get
Exactly.
that. I just wondered, what does that open the city up for, more or less?
nothing really.
We
We'd
are
have to
now.
do it to the building anyway, or we'd end up losing that building if they don't make some of the improvements.
Okay, we have a first and second. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Hendricks.
Aye.
Teagues.
Aye.
Landay.
Aye.
Avisu.
Yes.
Schultz.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Mayor Corman.
Aye.
All right, Resolution 2024-65, rehabilitation of the fiberglass water slides of Tracy Aquatic Center. So Shane, I'm going to have you come up here because there's one of the things I'm going to have you explain to them. So we got 3 bids for the slides that we put into our CIP for this year. So which was budgeted for. Remember what the total amount was budgeted when we were going to do the whole thing?
108, 106.
Is it in there, 118?
Yeah, it's in the memo.
Okay, I'm sorry. And so we're not going to use all of that right now. We are going to just get the slides done themselves, just the slides. And you got 3 bids, was it?
Yes, I'm pulling them up here. Yeah, we got one from Batum Solutions for $75,220. We got Amusement Restoration Companies for $65,341 and Safe Slide Restoration for $63,299.
And that $63,299 would be the low bid.
Yep. And I've checked all the references on all 3 of these companies. They all seem pretty reputable, pretty comparable. Everything's pretty comparable as far as what they've done in projects of this size. So
And I had Shane get a hold of them and made sure that they could do it in a timely manner after the pool closes on August 22nd and before it obviously gets too cold. So they all didn't have a problem with that either.
Yeah, and we're the coldest climate, so they're actually probably going to start up here and work south.
So do they come here and do it somewhere, or do they?
Yep, they'll do it right on site.
Oh, cool.
So
What will the colors of the slides be?
same color.
Okay, the reason I ask is when those slides were originally ordered, Audrey was very disappointed, and probably some of the council members too, because that the slide that's kind of the light green, it was supposed to be royal blue, and the wrong slide arrived, and Audrey and the council at that time said, just use what's here, otherwise the installation would have been delayed another year or months. So are there options there as far
You
as the
can.
color?
I'd have to check and see. It will be more to change the color, because that'd be a thicker coat that they'd have to put on to keep it from coming through. And then if you're going royal blue too, you're probably it's gonna be pretty dark inside that tube slide too. So it's just something to consider when you go to a darker color like that.
Okay. I just asked that.
So, I mean, it's possible, and that's one of the questions they asked. I guess I just assumed keeping the same colors that are there, but
I'd leave it as it is.
It makes sense to me to leave it as it is.
I'm sure they'll look different because these are super faded. So,
Maybe it'll look royal blue.
I honestly don't know what color they actually were. You don't notice it over the years until they. But
So the other $55,000 that we won't be spending this year, because we aren't going to redo the steps and stuff like that. What is the plan for those?
well, there's one other there's a small slide in the diving area that is rusting pretty bad, and the stairs are rusty, the platform's rusty, and last time I had that quoted, it was right around that 15 to 20,000 range. So there may be an opportunity to use that to take care of that. And then we talked about, I talked to Premium Plant Services to see if they could hydroblast some of the legs on the steel structure. If they can blast the paint off, then we can recoat it, because it's the same coating as what we did on the other features. But it's getting the paint off is the biggest hurdle to get through that. A lot of those parts are removable, so we could take sections and during the winter and work on the off season too. So there's nothing rusting, nothing corroded. It's just the paint looks bad. It's faded. Unlike the fiberglass part that's actually starting to delaminate. With fiberglass, could cut somebody if you don't get after it. So, but yeah, nothing structural as far as that goes. So, I mean, you could wait 10 years and it's really not going to make much difference. So, other than the cost of labor always goes up and materials. So. But yeah, that's something we could maybe look at, just doing it in-house, and it'd be probably less than 10,000 for materials. And they're going to do just a test area to see, if high pressure water would take it off. That'd be the cleanest. To sandblast by the pool, I don't really like the idea, because sand getting into places we don't want it. So
Because what we budgeted for and what they gave us as a price for their estimate was way higher. All three of them were higher than the amount that we had budgeted.
And their method, one of them was power wash and repaint. Well, the coating's like a rubber. The paint won't stick to it. But they just do their quoting based on pictures and stuff I sent to them and measurements. So, they don't really see what's actually there, and that they have to try to remove. So, it's going to be substantially higher when they find out what kind of paint's on it.
So we'll keep you abreast of what's going on there.
It'll be a new pool.
We will have a new pool. A couple new
one piece at a time. The paint seems to be holding up pretty good on those features. They look nice yet. So we got a little problem with the frog mat, where they slide out and land on there's a rubber mat there. I think it's probably been there since the beginning of time. That's the second frog that's been on that. We don't know what kind of mat that is or where what it came from. We've been trying to find a replacement for it, but they're few and far between, especially those colors. We can find like a black mat that you use on a doorstep, but that wouldn't look great in a pool.
That would be weighted down and stay underwater.
But we're working on that, so. But yeah, I would say most of the major things, short of water features like the raft and the snake that are in there, those are getting pretty rough. We threw them on the budget, I think, for 25.
Yeah, we kind of possibly going to move one of those, just do one of this in 25 and one in 26.
And those there, you know, you're probably going to hear about it if you do it, but if there's a safety problem, they can just be removed. There's no requirement to have them there at all, but kids do like them, so.
So what are the safety issues with them? Are they cheap?
Well,
They got some.
the coating on them
Yeah.
is starting to come off, so the foam is starting to get exposed. Well, then you get a little hole started, and then the kids start picking away at it. And
Oh, okay.
you get a big hole. So we've been filling them with silicone and trying to keep them sealed up so they don't get that way. But we're on year 3 of doing that, so eventually it's just going to be, you have to throw in the towel at some point.
Fix them and sell them.
I was just gonna say, I think some people would pay some good money for those.
I know they were about $7,500 when we purchased them back in 2001. I don't know, Seth, if you remember, but it's I'm sure it's considerably higher now, but maybe not.
Okay. Mayor, do you want a motion or resolution?
I would love that.
Okay. I would like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2024-65 regarding the rehabilitation of the fiberglass water slides at the Aquatic Center.
Second.
Is there any further discussion for that before we go into roll call? All right, roll call, please.
Van Dyke.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Hendricks.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Arvisu.
Yes.
Teagues.
Aye.
Mayor Corman.
Aye.
Number 3, Resolution 2024-66, establishing procedures relating to compliance with reimbursement bond regulations under the Internal Revenue Code. So I'll make this as simple as I can because that's the best I can do with it. So we had then ineligible monies that was north of $400,000. So we keep getting mixed, from the state, from Ellers, from Bollig on what we can do with that money when we have to do something. Not what we can do, but when we have to do something with it. So I just got a little bit nervous, and so I went to him. I said, okay, what can we do with it right now? So what you're going to be signing off on with this resolution is the ability to pay ourselves back from the bond payment that we made in February of, I believe, $330,000, and the bond payment that we're going to be of interest this coming August for $70,000. So we're going to pay ourselves back, which we can do legally, for those 2 payments, and then basically we'll have that $400,000 in our general fund that we can use it with the SCADA project or whatever we need to use it with on our own time. So now we have no pressure. We're not waiting for Bollig. We're not waiting for Ellers to tell us what we can and can't do and what time we can do it. We set this up so we'll have it sitting there waiting for us when we're ready. So that's about as simple as I can get.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-66. Give me my money.
Anybody have any questions about that? Roll call, please.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Teagues.
Aye.
Van Dyke.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Hendricks.
Aye.
Arvisu.
Yes.
Mayor Corman.
Aye. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Yeah, good. Picking right up on that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Diane, I don't know if anyone checked into it. I didn't see the text until now, but they're saying